Proverbs 28, verse 25. He that is of a proud heart stirreth up strife. But he that putteth his trust in the Lord shall be made fat. Now, as someone who struggles with weight, I appreciate that verse. Next time I get on the scale, I just got to remind myself that I am trusting the Lord with that. But truthfully, that's one of those mistakes that we make in reading the Bible on the surface. Because when it says be made fat, what that means is you'll be made full. You'll be made full of what the Lord has to offer. But instead, when we try to build ourselves up, when we try to serve ourselves, when we try to be proud, then what we do is we stir up strife and anxiety and conflict, trying to put ourselves ahead. But if we will simply, instead of doing that, if we will simply trust in the Lord, He will lift us up and make us full. That's what that verse is saying. So are you humble today? There are two things I want to remind you of that will help you remember to be humble. Two things that are applicable to every single person in this room. Even if you're here today and you're blessed with a lot of talents and a lot of abilities, there's two universal truths applicable to all people in all places at all times when it comes to people. Number one, people are limited. We are finite. Our perspective is incomplete. No matter what situation you're in, whether it is assessing our president and his job performance, the fact of the matter is, every one of us, and I would say this about Barack Obama, I would say this about George W. Bush, I'll say this about Bill Clinton, about George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, going all the way back, going forward, no matter who the president is, whenever you are assessing a president's job performance, remember your perspective is finite. You do not know what's crossing the president's desk. You do not know the decisions that the president is weighing right now. You do not know the challenges that the president's dealing with, the stresses of that job. You do not know because you're not there. You don't serve in that. It's easy to criticize from the outside because our perspective is finite and it's limited. Same is true when it comes to a pastor or when it comes to your boss at work. You do not know everything that your boss knows. When you're dealing with your teacher at school, teenagers, you do not know everything your teacher knows. Your perspective is finite. It's limited. It's based only on what you directly can see and experience. When you're dealing with a parent, you do not know the whole story. You only know what you see and experience. Your perspective is finite. But here's the problem. We tend to judge ourselves based on our knowledge of ourselves, which is a fairly complete knowledge. We know just about everything. Only God has perfect omniscience when it comes to us. But next to God, we know ourselves best. We know our intentions. We believe that we know our potential. We know what we meant to say. We know how we feel. And so we judge ourselves based on that knowledge of ourselves. Okay? And then we judge others based only on what we see and experience. It's kind of like this. We judge ourselves based on our intentions, and we judge others based on their actions. That is inconsistent, and it's not fair. Our perspective is limited. It's limited by maturity. It's limited by our personality. It's limited by our past experiences. It's limited simply by the fact that you and I are not omnipresent. We cannot be everywhere at the same time. We can only be in one place at this time. My perspective right now with all of you is simply what I see. I can't jump into your minds and figure out what you're thinking. Some of you that are sleeping, or it looks like you're sleeping, and maybe that you're just deeply meditating, on what I'm saying. All right? I don't know. All I can base it on is what I see. And you've got to remember that in your own relationships. The children are like this. One child was asked why Joseph and Mary took Jesus to Jerusalem. You know the old story where they lost Jesus, and he was teaching in the temple and they had to go back and find him. So a Sunday school teacher asked the children, why did Joseph and Mary take Jesus to Jerusalem? And the child answered, because they couldn't get a babysitter. It's based on That answer came from that child's perspective. That was that child's perspective. Another child, the story is a parent saying, we're going to go to the Lord's house today. Mom, what's the Lord's house? Church. We're going to go to church again today. Mom, how come God's never home in his house? You know, I mean, that's a child's perspective. Well, even as grown-ups, we have limited perspective. Have you all heard the elephant illustration before? If you take 12 people, blindfold them, lead them out into a courtyard, don't tell them what the animal is, have them surround the elephant, have them touch and feel the elephant, and then take them back into a room, have them take their blindfolds off, and have them draw a picture of the animal that they touched. You're going to get unusual perspectives because when you're blindfolded, you cannot see the whole elephant. All you can experience is what you're able to touch. Well, listen, most elephants are pretty big, and you can't touch the entire elephant. Understand that you are finite, and you must remember that in your day-to-day relations with your husband, your wife, and other people. You don't know everything. You might think you know everything, but you do not know everything. In fact, our knowledge is very limited. The second reason to be humble is to remember that we are sinners. We have a sin nature. Every single one of us has a sin nature. Every single one of us is a sinner. And I have to remember that in every conflict I'm a part of, in every relationship I'm a part of, I have to remember I am a sinner. And I bring